June the 26th, true bugs. Flower or pirate bugs not only occur on flowers, but also in leaf litter, on fungi, underbark, and even in birds' nests. They are usually black or brown with pale markings and pointed heads. Once again, there is a dangerous beak, which means they also needed to be handled carefully. The common flower bug, Anthocorus nemorum, is one of the most common of all bugs. It feeds on small insects such as aphids. It has a close relation, Anthocorus confusus, which prefers to live in ash scrub. Ash scrub is a rare habitat in London, but can be found in one or two places on the lower slopes of the North Downs. As a group, these are useful bugs, often eating pest species such as red spider mites. The infamous bedbug or mahogany flat, Cimex lectularius, is a close relation of flower bugs. It hides away during the day, waiting till night to look for a blood meal. Its rare occurrence in London hotel bedrooms must be due to previous residents who have accidentally introduced it. A similar bug, Aeoceacus hirundinus, is common but never seen. This is because it lives on adult swifts, which virtually never touch the ground. Having once rescued a swift caught in a fishing line, these bugs were happy enough to switch host, escaping rapidly on my hands and then up my arms. The flattest bugs encountered around London are bark bugs, which need to be flat, living as they do under bark and feeding there on fungi. The pine flatbug, Aradus synonymous, is flatter and redder than most and feeds on pine sap in the Oxshott and Ockham area. Other bark bugs are often reddish-brown or dark in colour, with dimpled surfaces, short legs and short antennae. Typical species found in London are Anurus avenius and Aradus depressus. As a group, they can often be found every month of the year, living as they do in such a protected environment. Ground bugs or seed bugs, unsurprisingly, are found on the ground, where they mostly look for and eat nutritious seeds. They tend to be relatively tough, black or brown insects with triangular-shaped heads. They're common enough in a number of different habitats, but get noticed more when they swarm. The European chinch bug, Ischnodesmus sabuleti, swarms over reeds and sometimes cereal crops, whereas Scolopothetus decoratus swarms over heather. The pinecone bug, Gastrodes grossipes, is one of the more brightly coloured species. It is a bright chestnut red and can often be found on fallen pine cones in the Esher and Oxshott area. Few insects capture our interest by the way they move, but stilt bugs are an exception. They are unremarkable, slender ground bugs with long, spindly legs and swollen knees. They live in meadows and are not usually seen due to their secretive behaviour and habit of instantly freezing when disturbed. However, if one is noticed, it is well worth watching for a minute or two, as when it slowly and awkwardly moves off, it does so as if it's walking on stilts. Aphids are the most familiar of the homopteran bugs, as well as being the most disliked. Not only do they attack the soft growth of a multitude of wild and cultivated plants, but they also introduce viruses and discolour leaves with their toxic saliva. They produce an excessive amount of honeydew, which then drops down from the trees onto cars, where it blackens as it gets colonised by fungi. Possibly the two most disliked aphids of all are the greenfly and blackfly, that reproduce so astronomically in the spring. These are all females reproducing without sex, creating great armies of identical clones. On warm days, we sometimes noticed winged aphids floating in clouds above gardens. They were called smotherflies in the past. The numbers are such that we sometimes see birds catching and eating them on the wing. They can travel hundreds of miles in this way. As many attack different host plants at different times of year, they end up affecting a vast range of plants. The rose aphid has a little more going for it than most, being at least pink in colour. There are a number of other homopterans that get noticed because they are good jumpers. Froghoppers, Philanius spumarius, look like miniature frogs, and like frogs they have big eyes and jump when surprised. Another group of jumpers are the leafhoppers. They are very numerous, with over 60 species having been recorded in Buckingham Palace gardens alone. Their heads tend to be more triangular than froghoppers, giving the appearance that their eyes are set at the back of their heads. One of the most attractive is the candy-striped rhododendron leafhopper, Graphocephala fen-ahir, which can be found in Bushy Park. This bright green and red striped species arrived from America in the 1930s and was first discovered here in Cobham. Since then, it has been damaging rhododendrons far and wide across much of the country. As it feeds, it often introduces a fungus that goes on to impair the development of the buds. Jumping plant lice are also similar to leafhoppers, but smaller and with proportionally longer antennae. Their wings also tend to be more prominently veined, making them look a little like cicadas. These are the suckers that do so much damage in orchids. For example, the apple and pear suckers, Scylla species. As they feed, they not only produce copious amounts of honeydew, but also wax. Some species excrete honeydew so rapidly, they're called sharpshooters. If wax is seen on Box Hill, it is likely the plant... if wax is seen on Box, it is likely the plant is infested with the box sucker, Scylla buxi, whose feeding habits result in the box leaves becoming cup-shaped. A rarer group of jumpers are the treehoppers. These are only capable of small jumps and are recognized by the horns or extensions on their backs, which make them look so much like thorn. If such a thorn is touched, it often moves around the branch to escape any further persecution. They are sometimes found by sweeping the lower branches in woodland rides or orchards. The horned treehopper, Centrotus cornutus, can be found on Buckham Common, and the rarer Gagara janistae on Wanstead Flats. The last group of jumpers are the planthoppers. These are usually brown or green and caught while sweeping grass. They are unusual in having a large movable spur on their legs. Stenocranus minutus is a common species often found in patches of Oxshott, Dactylis glomerata. Adult whiteflies look like miniature white moths, but it is not the adults but the nymphs that we notice. These are responsible for the spots of white powdery wax found on houseplants and in greenhouses all over London. The main culprit is the glasshouse whitefly, Triluridales vaporarium, which attacks crops such as tomatoes and cucumbers. There are also outdoor species which attack hawthorns, viburnum, and ash trees. Other common greenhouse pests are the mealybugs. The females live their lives in a mass of wax, which they exude from large pores in their skin. One last bug we noticed looks like little blisters on the twigs of willow, lime, horse chestnuts, and various fruit trees. These are the scale insects, the scale being made up of their molt skins cemented together. Female scales hardly resemble any other insect. They're oval, flattened, with no wings, hardly any legs, and virtually no antennae. One species we see a lot of is the cushiony scale, Pulvinaria innumerabalis, which feeds on lime trees. The males tend not to be seen as they have such short lives.